Hello and welcome to another video on my channel, The Money Passport. I'm currently in Porto, and in this video I'm showing a bit of my life as a digital nomad living here. I'll be sharing some highlights of the city, the apartment I'm renting, and how much I spent in a month living here. Just to be clear, I'm not going to take into account any of the costs of getting here, like a plane ticket or getting to or from the airport. I'm also not taking into account any personal expenses, for example, any subscription for Spotify, my health insurance, or any of the costs related to running my business. But for all other expenses, I'm keeping every single receipt so I can calculate what it costs me to live in Porto for a month. I'm here for a total of 5 weeks, but I'm only taking into account the first 30 days, as that makes much easier comparison in the future. I'm not going to mention every single expense on each of the 30 days because that would make it very boring. So I'm just sharing a few highlights and the typical expenses I made here. In the end, I will give a full overview and a breakdown into categories. So first of all, why did I pick Porto? When I was visiting my family in the Netherlands over Christmas, I had not made any onward travel plans yet, because I was waiting for an appointment to get my booster shot. When I got boosted earlier than anticipated, I wanted to go somewhere sunny as soon as possible without breaking the bank for a flight ticket. Since I was already planning to go to Albania again around February, I didn't want to go too far and Portugal seemed like a nice option. Porto is the second largest city in Portugal. I've never been here before and Airbnb prices are very reasonable for a European city. So today is Wednesday and it's only February, but I'm wearing shorts. So around this time last year I was living in Ireland and it would be cold and wet, and for my free time I would be, dependent on the weather in the evenings and the weekends. But since I quit my job, I'm able to work where I want, when I want. And today is Wednesday and it's nice and sunny, and I'm seizing the day because tomorrow and probably over the weekend it's going to be more cloudy. There could be some rain. So yeah, why not seize the day today and work in the weekend? Of course, I'm not on a holiday here, and since I spend most of my time working from home, let's first have a look at my apartment. I'm renting an apartment via Airbnb, which is located right in the center of town in a neighborhood called Vita, which is full of small art galleries, boutique shops and cafes, and everything is literally at a walkable distance. The building itself is brand new and so is the apartment. So this is my apartment, or actually more a studio. Let's do a quick tour. The room has been divided by a wall in the middle to separate the kitchen from the sleeping area. The kitchen has been fully equipped with a hob, an oven, a large fridge and a separate freezer. There is plenty of storage and all necessary cooking utensils. A coffee maker, a kettle, a toaster. There's even a dishwasher, which really feels like a luxury to me as I haven't had this in years. There's also a washer and of course a boiler for hot water. The bathroom is also brand new with a walk-in shower and looks very wide and clinical like a hotel. There is a large king bed and a spacious wardrobe. What I really like is the setup of this studio and how they make great use of the small space. In the corner is a sitting area with a comfortable couch and a TV. In the other corner, next to the kitchen, is a dining table which doubles as my workspace. Last but not least, there's this nice balcony with an amazing chair. Does this even have a name? And of course, the view could be much worse than this. So all in all, I'm very happy about this place, but if there's one thing I completely don't understand is how thin the walls are. The wall to the neighboring apartment feels like cardboard and I can almost hear everything. I mean, there haven't been any noisy people next door, but I can still hear people talking. Sometimes I hear their TV or washing machine, and come on, I can even hear them plugging in their chargers or flipping a light switch. I honestly don't understand why you would build something like that. But anyway, it doesn't bother me that much unless I'm trying to record a video like now. So then the cost. For a month I'm paying 836 euros, and that includes all utilities including fast Wi-Fi. This is of course the biggest expense, and now that we've got that out of the way, let's have a look what I'm doing outside the apartment and how much I've spent on it. Let's start with groceries. Having a fully equipped kitchen means I can stock up on food and cook my own meals. In total I spent €279.65 on groceries. I was actually shocked about this, as this is much more than I used to spend when I was not living as a nomad. And on top of that, some things here are even a bit cheaper compared to Ireland, where I used to live for the last 10 years. But of course, it's mainly the result of having almost all meals at home, so no canteen food at work or coffees at work. I simply drink my coffees at home and I don't eat or drink out that often, so actually it makes sense. I also realized that because of this I did buy a few more snacks and treats than I normally would, simply because I spent more time at home. So what do I do in my free time? I have to say, we're still living in a world where traveling is more complicated than normal. And personally, I'm still very careful to, not catch the virus. Not so much because I'm scared to get sick, but simply because I just don't want to screw up my onward travel plans, which might or might not include any testing. Who knows, it changes all the time. This is why I decided not to take a gym membership yet, and also stay very careful when socializing. Even though there's a lot of sun, it's still winter and it's cooling down a lot at the end of the afternoon, but I'm simply not comfortable sitting indoors in a full restaurant at night. Hopefully this will be much better very soon, but until then I'm rather enjoying the outdoors, wandering the streets of the city and taking in the nice architecture and views. But of course, I also wanted to taste some of the delicious local cuisine, so I did sit outdoors a few times for a bite or a drink, especially when the sun was out at sunset. One of my favorite places is Musa das Virtudes. Musa is a local craft brewery, and their brew cafe is located at a popular hangout during sunset. Craft beers are generally more expensive, but I noticed that prices are pretty reasonable here, ranging from about 4 to 7 euros for a pint. I was also dying to taste the typical sandwich from Porto called francesinha. This is basically a toast with roast meat, sausage, cheese, covered with the traditional francesinha sauce. Together with a coffee, water and a tip, I spent 15 euros on this. I also tasted some local snacks on the go. For example, these spinach, meat and tuna snacks were only 5 euros together. Of course, when you're in Porto, you also have to do a port tasting, which was surprisingly cheap. Excluding tip, these 5 shots of different port wines were only 5 euro together. The Casa Portuguesa do Pastel de Bacalhau was a lot more expensive. Of course, very touristic, but I liked the place and I went for a traditional codfish cake with a port wine for 15 euros. But hey, where else do you get this atmosphere and live performance? I also climbed up the Clerijos Tower for the amazing views of the city. The entrance for this was 6 euros. I also couldn't resist taking a ride on the Gaia cable car, which was a fun experience in itself, but I also simply like places with a view. I just got off the cable car here, which is 9 euro for a return ticket. The ticket actually came with a free port at one of the tasting rooms. I had no reason to skip on that, but I did end up ordering another 10-year-old port, plus a small snack on which I spent another 11 euros. I kind of like the psychology of reciprocity, and I think it's a smart way to attract customers, as there is a lot of competition with so many port wine vendors in this area. But since I kind of had my fair share of port tasting, I didn't go on an actual wine tour anymore. I've been to so many wineries, breweries, distilleries in my life that I didn't feel like I was missing out on something. When it comes to transportation cost, I saved a lot by living so centrally, as I literally walked everywhere. So I didn't use any taxis or public transport, except for one time when I went to the beach. I took a bus, which was only 2 euro for a single ride. Reusable cards or buying tickets in bulk would be even cheaper, but that wasn't worth for a single ride. At the beach, I visited 2 small castles, one with an entrance fee of 50 cents and the other one was even free. At the beach, I had a soup and a beer while enjoying the sun, which were 8 euro including the tip. I didn't take the bus back, as I decided to enjoy the scenic walk back along the Douro River. In total, I ended up spending 94 euros on eating and drinking out, which I think is pretty low for living abroad for a month. All tickets and entrance fees came down to 15 euros and 50 cents. The only other expenses I made were 25 euros for a haircut, and I bought a mobile data package for 10 euros. I didn't buy a local SIM card as I'm not staying here for too long, so for me it was just easier to buy a bundle via my Dutch SIM card, which is valid here in Portugal anyway via the EU data roaming agreement. I decided to include this expense as I would have spent a similar amount here anyway, like I did by buying a local SIM card in Greece or in Albania last year. So in total I spent 1,262 euros and 15 cents for a month living in Porto. So what do you think? Is it reasonable, expensive, cheap? Comment down below what you think. So what could I have done to make it cheaper or even more expensive? So first of all, what could I have saved on? As always, the biggest expense was housing, so there was probably the biggest saving to be made. Living in the center is fun and convenient, but it would definitely be cheaper to live somewhere less central. Renting through Airbnb is easy to arrange, but this also increases the price with a large fee. If I would stay here for longer, I would definitely try to find something via an agency or find direct contact with a landlord to negotiate a better deal. Then, what would have made my stay more expensive? Definitely eating and drinking out more often, and maybe doing more touristic stuff like a boat tour or a wine tour, or simply making day or weekend trips out of town. At the same time, if I would stay here for longer, I wouldn't do the same touristic things every month either. Another expense I didn't make because of COVID was a gym membership. Now, I did check out a few places and it would cost like 6 to 7 euros a week, which wouldn't be more than 30 euros a month. So the big question is, will I come back here? Well, I still have a lot of other countries and cities on my bucket list, but at the same time, I really love Porto. So I could see myself living here for longer actually. So the final answer is definitely yes. So that's it. Thank you for watching. And if you enjoyed this video, please give it a like. And please subscribe to my channel for more videos about location independent living, earning and investing. So see you in my next video in Albania. Bye bye.